Okay, hi everyone. My name's PK, and I've got here Will with me, who's a client of mine who's just secured a pretty fantastic property. And so in this video, we'll be going through how we found that property, what he did to kind of really secure it because it was interstate. I'm just reading from my notes here. He bought it for $410,000, valued at about 420. The rent is well above $400 a week. So it's positive cash flow, and it's in a suburb where it's pretty hard to buy. The data is pretty awesome. It's been growing a lot. It will continue to grow a lot. So high growth, positive cash flow, purchase, slightly under market value, interstate. Will didn't catch a flight or anything like that to secure this property. And he didn't go through a buyer's agent. He did it himself. So if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you want to buy, then hopefully this video will be useful. Stick around. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and that way this video will go out to more and more people. Tag someone who will actually benefit from watching this. But enough of that. Welcome, Will. And yeah, congratulations on a pretty awesome purchase.
Oh, thank you, PK.
So maybe let's just start at the start. I think I saw you personally when I did the event in Sydney, which was pretty cool. Maybe if we just back up, like what motivated you to reach out and actually do the course in the first instance?
Yeah, so basically, my wife and I were thinking of buying an investment property, maybe last year, like in Melbourne, and obviously, this year we've got a bit more time, so I started to look for properties in Jan, but I wasn't really sure what to do, like which suburbs. That's the main thing, and looking at data, there's so many suggestions across different states. I might miss something. I might not get the best suburb or the best location. So I've been like looking at like different courses and different, people that is recommending, the property course. So it's just out of the blue. Like one day I was like, typing, the best suburb, and somehow I just click on videos, and then I just find this guy called PK. Okay, so I went in there and I just look at his videos, and it's just remind me of someone that used to be my tutor, like someone that can explain really complicated ideas into simple ways. And I kind of get hooked onto this guy, and it's just very easy to understand, and the way they explain actually makes sense. In a simple English that like very practical, and it doesn't really complicate you. So I actually messaged him as feel, questions on his YouTube video to see whether he's actually replying me back. It's not like like a scam or anything. But the next day he actually replied me back. So then I started to dig out this guy a lot more by going into the Facebook, and then I can see like there's so many people joined. I think 3 or 4,000 probably now. There's probably more than that.
7,000, yeah.
7,000, and then one of the things I look at is whether PK actually reply the questions, and he does like every single day, like within 24 hours. And then I'm still like 50-50. So I went for his strategy call, and we had a chat about it. And I told him, what are my strategies, what I want to achieve in properly. And then after that, I was still not really convinced.
Yeah,
and then
I got that sense as well. After that call, I was like, I'm not sure he's convinced about this.
Yeah, I still feel like a bit of a scam. So one of the things that PK suggests is that, okay, why don't like, I'm coming to Sydney. So I saw on Facebook at PK's coming on Sydney, and I joined the mentorship in Sydney, and I first visited PK, and I was really surprised to see he's got so many fans and so many people there. And I was staying there for like an hour. I thought like it's going to be boring, but it actually ended up staying for the whole night, like until like maybe 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So after that, I gained trust. So I joined, PK, and I started to doing the course. And here we go. I found a suburb and I bought the property. Thanks for PK.
No, good job. Trust is such a big thing. It's such a huge thing still to this day. Not you, but still to this day, even after 7,000 people in the group, 400 clients, like dozens of deals posted, still people think I'm a scam. So it's very natural, you know what I mean? There are lots of dodgy operators out there.
Mm.
But let's kind of just focus and try to give value to people. So your biggest bugbear, Will, was you just didn't know where to buy. Like obviously the most important thing in property investing is where, the location selection. Um, so what were you doing in terms of location selection before doing the course versus what were you doing in location selection having done the course? Like what was that difference? What was that value add?
Yeah, so before the calls, I was just, asking friends, hey, by the way, which suburb do you think it's good? And they say, oh, maybe try this area. So I wasn't really convinced, but I do a bit of search, but it doesn't really tell me anything. I also look at just Google, the top 10 suburbs for 2021 potential growth, but it still wasn't really convinced. It's very generic. They even say like in Melbourne, some of the areas like Riverby and all that. I was like, when I look at the data, it's just so many houses. I was like, it doesn't really convince me. So I was just like doing a lot of searching, asking friends, doing a bit of my, learning as well, like getting some feedback from another Facebook group, but it doesn't really help me to identify, doesn't help me to build that confidence and trust to identify that suburb.
Hmm.
Then, well, compared to PK's course, obviously, it's very good because it's looking at data. It's looking at the different types of metrics that we need to look for suburbs, and by doing that, I was able to pick the suburbs which I would go for. And it's true because when I look at the realestate.com, like about 90% of them is under contract, and if you put your alert in one of the suburb, maybe 1 or 2 weeks is actually under offer. So it actually makes sense. And I do agree with, the boiling, the water boiling, like particularly like, when a suburb there's a lot of people buying all that, there must be something good about it. Well, consider the cost is okay and the rent is positive cash flow. That's the important thing. Yeah, so by doing that course versus that, it just gave me confidence to pick that suburb, to buy, lock it in, and just negotiate straight away. So I think within 1 or 2 months, I was really confident and I picked the right suburb.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. I think on that initial call we had before you signed up, a lot of people, that kind of notion of if I want a growth suburb, it needs to be negatively geared. I think that was what we were talking about. And I was kind of saying, look, actually, you don't need to do that. You don't need to spend five, six, $700,000 on a good property. You can actually spend under 500, under $400,000, get something positive cash flow that won't eat up your borrowing capacity so much, and then really use that as a launch pad for the next property. And that's exactly what you did. So you're based in Sydney, Will. You bought in South Australia, like I said before, an area where we both have seen literally in the last 3 months, go up in value by perhaps $5,000, $10,000 a fortnight, and that will continue as per the data, drivers below it. Like, tell us of your experience of buying interstate, because I know that's not something you were totally comfortable with before, and that's why you were just looking at New South Wales. Did you find the process of buying interstate easy? Can you do it yourself now? Would you recommend others buy interstate if that's where the data leads them?
Yeah, exactly. So back then, like, I wasn't really confident buying interstate. There's so many things that I need to think about. For example, like, who's going to be my strata manager, who's going to inspect the property for me, what happened if, there's some druggies, the next door, but all this is actually overcome by doing the course. So in PK's course, there's a lot of references to the property managers and all that. So even financial planners and accountants and valuers and all that. So it's actually really good, and I actually built a really good relationship with my SA manager. She was really switched on. She gave me that confidence, from day one when I spoke to her on the phone. So basically, I trust her. She helped me to inspect the property. She's really good. Like even took the videos of the property for me, so I can actually assess and get the feelings of the surrounding, the streets. Even for pest and building inspection, like, there's some good recommendations by PK and his community forum people, and I just used that, and I was really surprised. It's actually better than one that I used in Sydney when I purchased my one residence. It's so far away and all that. So all the reference and all the supports, like as what PK say, work as a team. I feel that I'm part of the team, and I've got a really good team with my strata manager, and the finance guy, the mortgage broker, and all that. So I'm really comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to impress that upon people that if you're watching and you're kind of brand new to property investing or you only have one or two properties, it's so important to have the right team around you. The analogy that I often use is that you're the captain of, let's say, the cricket team, but you can't be the opening bowler, the opening batsman, the wicket keeper, the fielder, everything at the same time. So you need a good mortgage broker, like Will said, a good conveyancer, property managers, quantity surveyor, accountant, and you need these people, most importantly, to be working well within or between each other. They shouldn't be like disjointed with different strategies. And, the property investment accelerator, it's educational, but it gives you that team as well, which I think is, as Will
Mm.
said, pretty important. Um, all right, Will. And so like what's your thoughts on maybe the last question I'll ask is negotiation. So a lot of people are like like really scared or hesitant or apprehensive about negotiating. It's not something that comes easy for them. They're a little bit shy, let alone or what to speak of doing this interstate, with some agent that you can't even see somewhere in another city. You negotiated $8,000 off the price and you got it under market value, by about that much. So, like, tell us about your experience in negotiating. Was that daunting? Was that fearful, or was it easy? Like, how did you do it?
Yeah, I think it's I learned from PK's course. I think there's two things to it. The first thing is the CMA. You need to know like the value of your property to negotiate first. If you think the property is worth this X amount, then you should really try to lock about 5 to 10% off and try that first. But it's really high in a hot market, particularly in SA. So a lot of agents just, don't really care about you. So you just need to give them the best price. It happened to me before. So just working with the CMA, like, looking at the last 3 months data, what the property is worth, and then you start have that confidence of, okay, so this is how much it's worth. And then you start maybe, starts it out with the property manager, how much would that be and all that. And whether it's like 5 to 10%, but obviously they said, no, it's the market, it's crazy. You have like 10 people better than you, then you kind of like, upper your limit a bit more.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing about CMA that I've learned. The second thing is obviously the building inspection, like particularly in SA, it's not the final price that you pay for. Like when you sign a contract, you just have like 2 days cooling off, and during that 2 days, you still can negotiate, which is the fun part. I find it really fun because I love negotiating. I love to shop for the best price and all that. So I think that's a good opportunity for me. So throughout the 2 days, I've managed to get a building inspector, and they said, look, this is, you need to fix that. So it add up to be like, 10 to 15K. So what I did was I actually let the agent know, by the way, look, these, photos, like show them the photos and show them, what are the defects are. And surprisingly, like, they got back to me and they said, okay, we're happy to reduce 8K. So I find it quite, fun. Initially, it was quite hard work because you need to compile all the photos, the quotes. I have to call a few friends, the plumbers and builders, to get roughly how much it is, because I don't really want to, just make up the figures and all that. Like at
Yeah.
least they asked me, I have some proof and all that. So I did my homework on that. So I think you need to do a little bit of homework on that. And then just sent the pictures and all that. And surprisingly, when I called, they said, okay, we normally just reduce the price. So initially I would say yes. And then next day they came back, okay, we can reduce from 8K out of the 11K that I proposed.
Yeah.
So a really good outcome. And because of that course taught me how to, always negotiate on things like that. So which is good, very good.
No, that's great to hear. And I think one thing that you did really well, Will, is oftentimes people think of agents as like their enemy, but actually we need to be friends with them. Like we need to be polite and courteous and treat them as human beings. So like when you negotiated after the building and pest, but you provided that justification. Hey, here are the things that are wrong, minor faults. Here are the quotes. Here are the images. Then you come across as someone who's rational. You come across as someone who's not just trying to lowball for no reason. And agents are human beings too. If there's any agents watching, you'll appreciate this, right? People don't respect agents in many instances because they think that they're like secondhand car salesmen, but
Yeah.
actually they're human beings. And so when you treat them as such, they actually work for you. And I remember on, I think it was like a Friday morning, like 8:30 a.m. or 9 a.m. I think we had a phone call, and you were saying, "Look, if I have to get this, if I want this property, I need to give, $5,000, $10,000 more, but that's going to be a little bit too much for the property." And then we were thinking, okay, well, if we give that much more, but then after the building and pest, we bring it back down, then we beat the other bidders, but and get it at the price that we ultimately want it at anyway, right?
Mm.
And that's exactly what happens. So sometimes you just need a bit of support. Like a course and everything is great, but sometimes you just need like a little bit of support, just someone to just kind of nudge you along. You knew what to do anyway, but it was just a bit of a vote of confidence.
Mhm.
So that was it was a great outcome. All right. So look, Will, there's so many people who may be on the fence with the property investment accelerator. There are a million courses out there in Australian real estate, starting all the way from probably $10 all the way to maybe $20,000 with various upsells and stuff like that. Mine's not a cheap course. Mine's expensive, not 10 or 20, but it's expensive. What would you say to someone who's kind of on the fence? A part of them is like, not sure if this is a scam. A part of them is saying, oh, the wife is saying, oh, well, you really want to spend all this money on a course. Another part of them is saying, well, why don't I just do this myself? Everyone else does it themselves. And another part of them is saying, it's so overwhelming. Like, why don't I just outsource it to a buyer's agent? Like, what advice would you give them whether to do the course or not, and why?
Yeah, I think just do it. Initially, I was probably like you guys, but it's just more like for learning for long term. Like um, there's actually more to the course. Like it's very practical. You get to learn. There's a lot of things that you don't really know. Like you think you might know, but there's a lot of things that you don't know. It's really valuable. That's what I have found. And I think the main thing is you've got PK as your mentorship. Like it's a lifetime support. For example, what PK mentioned, if you're not really sure about anything, just WhatsApp him, Facebook him, even call him, and he'll be there to support you. So I think that's the two main things that I found that it's really good doing this course, because other courses you won't get, hands-on practical experience with PK and all that. Yeah, so it's just a practicality, like the course that provides not just like, when you go to uni, you learn about, accounting 1A, 1B, like with all its theories. It's just like, straight into it. Just like, when you go to work, you will do the thing straight away. So that's what PK's course is. So I'm happy to, yeah, that I did the course. So
Awesome.
my advice for you guys.
I'm happy to hear it. Happy to hear it, Will. Yeah, this is not a set of PowerPoint slides or a university subject or a TAFE course. It's intended to be practical
Mm.
because no one's going to take time just to do a random theory course. That's not really useful. But once again, Will, congratulations on your purchase. So positive cash flow. It's growing already. It's already worth more than what you paid for it. And you're now looking for your next property. And that's kind of what excites me. It's not just stopping at one property, but buying or building a portfolio in such a way you can buy more and more. That's really the name of the game, and that's why,
Mhm.
well, that's how passive income is generated. So, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, PK.
All right, guys. Well, look, if this video brought you any value, then please, please, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, hit subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and that way more people will be able to see it and you'll see more stories just like this. And I'll leave a link below to the Property Investment Accelerator, the website. You can book a strategy call with me. Don't book if you want a cheap $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 course. This is not that. don't book if you just want more information. If you're ready to go and make the most of this current market, then book a call and let's get going. And once again, guys, if this does bring value to me, let me know. If you have any questions for Will or me, put them in the comments below. And just like Will asked me on YouTube and I replied, I'll reply. Like, the idea is ask and you shall get, right? So many of you are struggling, and yeah, I'm just here to help. So once again, I can't take the credit for what Will has done. It's all him. I'm not a buyer's agent. I simply teach you how to fish and then help you hold that fishing rod while you fish. And that's exactly what we did. And he got a pretty amazing result. So looking forward to what the future has in store for you, Will.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. See you later, everyone. Take it easy.
See you guys.